It's time for Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Stay tuned for conversation and information from her special guest. Now sit back and relax and enjoy Real Talk with Cindy Barber.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Real Talk with Cindy. Please tag and share and let others know that we are on. I'm on the Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel, Cindy Barber TV. Please tag and share and let others know that we are here. My guest is here and we're ready to go. And I'm looking forward to this discussion on tonight. I see you coming on. God bless you. Please let me know the city, state, or country you are joining me from on tonight. Please let me know the city, state, or country where you're joining me from on tonight. I hope everyone has had an amazing weekend. Resurrection Sunday, Good Friday service. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. If you would like to sow a seed to Real Talk with Cindy, and many of you have done that, and be a financial blessing to Real Talk, please use my Cash App, which is $Cindy's Keys. $Cindy's Keys is at the bottom of the screen. And I want to thank so many of you that have sown into Real Talk with Cindy. Those of you that are watching from YouTube, welcome, welcome. Also, if you would like to advertise your event or you have a business or a service you'd like to advertise, please DM me or send me an email to ms.cindybarber@gmail.com. I'll be glad to advertise for you right here on Real Talk. Please let me know the city, state, or country you are joining me from on tonight. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Please tag and please share and let others know that we are on. I'm going to bring my guest on in a couple of minutes. Let us know the city, state, or country where you are joining us from on tonight. God is so good. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. I see you coming on. God bless you. God bless you. I'm going to bring my guest on. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good
Gary
evening.
and Diggs. Good to have you with me on tonight.
Glad to be with you tonight.
Yes, it is an honor. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh, you're welcome. And I kind of honored to have you on tonight. So I'm going to start with Destiny. Share a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Yes, I currently serve as Vice President of Network Programming at Reach Gospel Radio. I am also the host of Say So Radio Show, and
Mhm.
actually just launched DeGaria Music Agency. So I'm currently
Mm.
managing artists. I'm doing consulting. So I'm really
Wow,
excited about this new season that God has brought me to.
that is amazing. So if they want to reach you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, you can email me at destinydiggs@reachgospelradio.com if you would like to
Mhm.
submit your music to Reach, or if you're interested in consulting or management, you can email me at diggsdestiny@gmail.com.
It's wonderful. I love your name, Destiny. I
Yeah.
love that name. Yes. I'm so proud of what you're doing as a young lady and how you carry yourself. I'm just proud of you. And I know your father and your mother are very much proud of you as well.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're
Yeah.
welcome. And now your father, Brother Gary Diggs. Let's just share a little bit, just a little bit of what you do and who you are.
I'm Destiny's father.
He's my
That's
editor.
So I'm
number
your
one.
manager.
Right.
I used to be known to play and stuff, but now I'm just Destiny's father. But yes, he's a producer, songwriter, and still do
Mhm.
several community events several times a year outside of the Oregon, just to
Right.
impact, power the next, not just the next generation, but even to the older ones that just need some more oxygen pumped
Mhm.
into their veins and into their nostrils. So that's really what I do. I do several events, Cover Me Summit, Call to Refresh, When Men Cry, um,
Mhm.
Illness, meaning Life Now is Sweet, is for seniors. So there are several things I do throughout the year, and I'm still going around promoting the book, The Broken Key, as well. So I stay
Right.
busy.
Yes. And share how many years you have been at the church where you're currently playing.
I've been helping Bethany almost about 29, but no, about 26 years, 26, 7 years. But I've been with the
Wow.
ministry full time 23 years.
Wow.
It's a long
Wow.
time.
A long time.
That's a long time. It sure
I ain't
is.
tired yet. I ain't tired yet.
That's right. You're just getting started again, right?
Started.
You know. So
You know,
when
I
you wrote your book,
Barb,
uh-huh,
Barbara, I say this about that. Um,
uh-huh.
you will never know milk is spoiled until you open it or pull it out of the refrigerator. My point,
Mm,
we as musicians in any area of ministry that we're doing, make sure that you're still inspired and not expired.
mm. I
There's a
like
difference
that.
between the two, because just looking at it in the refrigerator, everything looks fine until you get over that thing and open it up and get close to it. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God, milk is spoiled. And a lot of
Right.
times we're in ministry and we've expired
Mm.
Mhm.
out of that assignment. And we should have just moved away a long time ago. And that's
Right.
why I asked the Lord for fresh oil and fresh anointing to keep me afresh. But when that day come when I no longer feel that inspiration, then I know
Mhm.
it's time to
To
move
move on.
aside. So that's why you have to kind of just lay before God daily and just don't go off your last performance, so to speak. I can't
Mhm.
say what I
Oh,
played
oil.
last oil, what I played last Sunday. Easter is gone now. I have to
Right.
now focus on. I have Bible study Wednesday, so I have to lay before God, ready for Wednesday, ready for
Ready
next
for when?
week.
Right.
People, you smell like where you've been.
Mm.
So, if you've been eating a bunch of fried soul foods, when you get close to someone, they're gonna say, "Hey, yes,
It smell
fish."
like it.
They
Mhm.
can smell it. So when I get to church Wednesday, folks need to when they get close to me, I need to smell
Mhm.
like I've been in church. I need to
Right.
smell like I've been with God Monday and Tuesday, ready to
Mm.
prepare on Wednesday.
Mm.
Okay, enough talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead, back up.
No, that's good. That's really good because people need to hear that. Musicians especially need to hear that. Because this platform will play over and over again, so they definitely need to hear it. I'm inspired. That's good. Now you became an author and you wrote your book. How can people purchase your book?
Yes, the book is available on Amazon. Gary Diggs, The Broken Key, and
Mhm.
it's still actually selling quite well. It's doing well on there. Now on Tuesday, April 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
will be there signing books. I will have them there in person, so they can
Mm-hmm.
come to the event that we're going to be talking about shortly. I'll be there
Mm-hmm.
signing books, and the book is it's a great read. It's a short read. It just simply deal with getting fixed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, operate on broken keys, and rather than playing around, you know,
Right.
add broken chords and the broken
Mm-hmm.
keys, just have someone to come in and fix, and that's
Right.
what we do with Jesus. Some
Mm-hmm.
and going to him saying, Lord, such as I am, I give myself.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
big old, instead of doing
Mm-hmm.
that, we just, we try to dress it up. We try to use our talents to cover up what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
get fixed so you won't
Mm-hmm.
be on people. That's what
Right.
it's about.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Hey, the
So
broken key, I forgot I got it on now. Yeah. I just realized I got the shirt on now. Go ahead.
right.
I'm just a nut just cutting up. Go ahead.
No. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. We'd be free on here. So now let's
Amen. Amen. I love it.
right. We're free. Because I think it's important for people to see people for who they are.
Yeah.
Because I've had some artists on and people were really amazed at how down to earth they really were. And I said, yeah, they're people just like you.
Yeah.
We kind of put them on pedestals sometimes, but
Too
they're
much.
like you and me.
Yep.
You know,
That's part of the
So,
problem now. We're putting too many people on the pedestal, not just artists, but pastors,
Yeah.
and
right,
we've made them into celebrities, which is
right,
why
exactly.
not only the church is struggling, but gospel music is struggling as well. So that's
Right.
a whole nother conversation.
Yes, yes,
Respect the gift and respect the person by not
right,
idolizing them or worshiping them.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. So now let's talk about Call to Refresh.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. And so you want to begin to share about it, what it is, what you do, and so because I think it's very important.
Well, let me say what Called to Refresh is not. It is not a concert. It is not a gig. It is not a night of a shed where musicians sit around each other with their cell phones like, oh my God, oh, he's killing. Oh, he's cold. He's a beast. He's a monster. It's not that.
Right.
It's a symposium. It's a 2-hour think tank is what I call it. We meet in the room and we bring in some of the best hands in the industry, not just the musicians, but real estate, life insurance, health and wellness, therapists, radio, as Destiny will be there, and Hassan James will be there,
Wow.
and content creators. So we have all these people that come into a room, and we just spend 2 hours just in talking about the industry, about life. We don't bash pastors. We don't bash other musicians. It is not that type of thing. We come together like that, and it's all based off the scripture from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 23, went and refresh Saul. And that's what these 2 hours, our goal and mission is to refresh the Saul. Because whether you end something, whether you just got out of something, either way, there's going to come a day where you're going to need fresh. So we try to bring you in here and help you with this. And the rate is, or the registration is $16.23. It's based off the scripture, chapter 16, verse 23. And the success story, we've had 5 people to purchase homes by to this. We've had people to get life insurance. People didn't even have life insurance, health insurance. A lot of people didn't even know that they could get insurances and purchase homes and various things. We have a financial advisor that's there that's helping us with our finances. Barbara, what's the sense? And you planned on Sunday making whatever dollar amount it is.
Yes.
Tuesday, it's all gone to nails and hair, and you're still trying. Not that I have a problem with that.
Right.
For too long, too many times, we shout over things and we try to ask God to fix us and help us when we make a mess of a lot of things ourselves. So what I'm trying to do now that I'm getting older is trying to share some of the things that I've learned with some younger people. I see someone now asking about registration. They can either, if they go to our page, they see the flyer on there. They can get purchased by Zelle, Cash App. The doors open at 6. We start promptly. Desi is going to be hosting this year.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful, sweet person, radio host from Reach Gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-show that starts at 6:45. We start on time.
Yes.
We
and
start
tomorrow.
It's
She's
tomorrow.
asking when is it? It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
And it's at my family's church where I grew up at. That's what I love about it. Because bringing, I haven't forgotten where I come from. So I'm bringing all these people into my father's church, and I'm just so excited about it.
I know.
Cedric Thompson's going to be there.
Who's that?
Cedric Thompson.
Okay, yes.
Amazing producers, Karen Clark, Donald Lawrence, Jake. The list goes on. Marvin Saps. The list goes on. Freddie Washington Jr. will be there. Steve Hackley, one of the local musicians from the area, will be there. Tamika Furby, she's the owner of Flip It, and y'all know she's a producer, artist herself. Austin Woodland, Jamie Williams, who was handling our finance. He's been at this ministry for 25 years.
Yeah, so, Jamie is amazing.
Jack Harris, Kelly Moore will be moderating. It's just going to be an awesome, great time. Get there early. You can go ahead, they always say you can pay at the door, but it's always say more at the door. So they can do that, but we want everybody to really show up tomorrow. And we're doing the scholarship. That's the other thing. We're doing, I'm not talking too long, just stop me. We're doing
no, go ahead.
Excited.
And the way the scholarship works, someone asked me when I first started this last year, what are the criteria for the scholarship?
Right.
That they're breathing and at least going to school. So that can be A, B, C, D, or F student. Now, what does that mean? Everybody that has D's and F's and C minors do not mean they are not what's the word when you're not applying? They're not applying themselves. It doesn't mean that. You have some people that are failing because they don't know what they want tomorrow. Or maybe they haven't eaten in 2 days. I remember when Destiny was in school, sometimes she would say, Dad, is it okay if I use my lunch allowance, whatever it comes in, that stipend in college? I want to treat someone to lunch today. Let someone have, yes, please. And a lot of times you have some people that are really, really going through. And we can sit up there and play all we want on Sunday, but I think our real work starts when the instrument is turned off.
That's right.
That's what Called to Refresh. We want you to come refresh. It never said David Brothers couldn't play. I never read that they couldn't. Something that David had on him that he was able to refresh the people, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah. Yes. So name some of the people that you will have this time, and some of the people you've had before.
Yeah. Cedric Thompson, as I mentioned, which one of the industry's top producers out there. You have Freddie Washington Jr. With Brooklyn Tabernacle. Did work with Winans. That goes on. Austin Woodland, who's one of the I call him one of the smartest musicians I know out of Philadelphia. Incredible young musician, very smart musician. He's a smart musician. Steve Hackley, who does a lot of stuff with John Howard, John Howard's group, and he's He's booked and busy tonight. He plays like at 25 churches every week, but he is one of the most incredible, humble musicians I know. He will be with us. A guy named Carl Rogers, who is a master with life insurance and health insurance. He's going to help you with that. Jack Harris, who's the owner of a real estate company, he will be there to help you with homes. And a guy named Dr. George James, he's going to be a therapist. He will be there tomorrow because we got a lot of people. We got some issues. But we got some things going on.
We do.
Always need some counseling. So
mental health.
Okay. So,
right.
So Dr. George James is going to be with us. Brene, who's helped us with our eating and trying to get our health right because I'm horrible with it.
Me too.
But she's going to be there talking to us about change of diets and it's okay to do things, but be careful. Jamie Williams will be with us again. He's going to help us with some money matter, how to make sense out of these dollars that we have. And then sometimes, we want to make more money, but we may need more sense. We want more, but we may need to be more disciplined. Again, Derek Hodges, who is in the industry, great music producer now. He's worked with knows how many artists. We're honoring him this year with the scholarship.
Oh, okay.
Really excited about it.
I think it's amazing, and I think it's great. And I'm praying that more people will take advantage of it and come and be refreshed.
Yes.
Because there's nothing like being refreshed. So many times as musicians and even as singers, you go on, but you're playing for services, and sometimes you're not even really hearing the word because you're too busy working. You need to have that time where you can be refreshed. You've got to come aside and be refreshed. And I'm just not sure why people just don't take advantage of it. Destiny, in your generation, what do you think? Why do you think young people just won't take advantage of opportunities where they can grow and learn, like something like this called To Refresh?
I think
you may not know.
We have so much access these days, social media, so we can get everything at home. TikTok is the new Google. I tell people that all the time. I'm going to TikTok, GPT before I go to Google. So we have so much information. And unfortunately, sometimes we believe that we know it all. But it's nothing like sitting with some seasoned saints and some people with some knowledge and some experience. And so that's why I'm constantly speaking to someone older than me or the OGs in my industry, just to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, can I get advice in this? That's why, even with my company, Young Black Successful, one of the keys to success is what I tell people is you have to have a mentor. Everyone needs a trusted mentor or a trusted voice in their life. And so at Called To Refresh, you will have the opportunity to speak to some trusted voices. And, another reason why I think it's so important to have events such as Call To Refresh is because everyone in ministry has to they need the time to get refreshed and to get poured back into. I shared this with the guys a few years ago that in the Bible, a woman at the well had to first have an experience with Jesus in order to go in and heal the land and go evangelize to the people. It's not until she had her experience at the well with Jesus, and that's when she was able to go and testify and say, let me tell you what the Lord has done. So we back to the well and allow the Lord to speak to us, and we have to stop everything that we're doing and take some time and take some time with him so you can refresh God's people. So in this season, it is time to first get refreshed, right? And so you refresh the Lord's people, because it's nothing like going to the pulpit. It's nothing like preaching, like singing, like playing with an empty stomach, with nothing in your spirit, with nothing to pour out. So tomorrow is an opportunity to get poured into. It's nothing like serving in ministry and serving God's people. And you're like, Lord, I don't feel a thing that I'm playing. And, I really, I'm struggling with this. What's up with this? So tomorrow is you will have that opportunity. And we're not only talking to the spirit man, right? But we're talking to the natural man, which is why we're talking about finances and mental health and trying to get your credit right and, wanting to give you that opportunity to be a homeowner or to help you find whatever you need. You got to speak to the whole person.
You do.
So tomorrow, within 2.5 hours to 3 hours, we'll be speaking to the whole person. So you can get refreshed, so you can refresh God's people. You no longer want to keep operating on broken keys, right? On pieces. It's time to be whole. And so tomorrow we'll have that opportunity. And I'm just believing God for a fresh wind. This is our 11th year. I'm believing God to do something never done before, supernatural. And I'm praying that he will flip that place upside down and somebody really gets healed, set free, saved, and delivered. Because it's the difference between a musician and a minstrel. It's a difference. And now that I've been, the Lord has called me to preach, which I didn't know. But now that they called me to preach, it's such a difference when I have a musician compared to a minstrel. They share the whole atmosphere. They work with you. They don't work against you. They're not somewhere in la la land.
Right.
So
because they're listening.
They're listening. They know what songs to play. I remember the last engagement I had in Camden. My father surprised me. And, it was like a match made in heaven. And I'm not saying this because he's my father, but the song choices that he was choosing. I'm like, I would have never thought about every mountain at that time.
Wow.
You know, you're flowing, you're preaching to the people, you're praying. And I just said, whoo, it's just perfect. You can't make that stuff up. But he had to go through to get that.
That's right.
I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching a TikTok clip.
Right.
He had to go through to get that. He had to
That's
go
right.
through he had to sit with the Lord. Right. You gotta go through. The oil ain't for free.
No.
You gotta go some stuff to get there's a cost to this.
There's a cost to it. I'm telling you.
So tomorrow I want people to be reminded that all things really do work together. You may not be on tour with so you may not have a top 40 song, but whatever you are going through, the Lord's going to use it for his good. My God. He's going to use it for your good. So I don't care if you go home and your lights are off, he's using it for your good. And whatever he's going to use it to touch someone else. My God. So you gotta go through. I've talked to young musicians before, and they said, "Man, I'm just trying to do this. I'm just trying to go on tour." And I said, "You've got to enjoy the season that you're in, and submit to the season.
That's right.
To just accepting the season, but you got to submit to the season and say, okay, Lord, what is your will for my life? What is your will for my assignment? What will you have me to do?" And I don't care if you're at a church with 20 people or a church with 200 people, you still got to play and sing and preach like it's 1,000 people, because it's really an audience of one.
Of one.
At the end of the day, we do this only to serve him. I tell people that on the red carpet. I tell people that at these different events I go to, whether it's Stellar Doves, I said it's only an audience of one. I'm doing this for him.
That's right.
My assignment that he has called me to, I didn't call myself. Because when you call yourself, you get yourself in trouble.
That's
and
right.
You don't have longevity at all. So all I'm saying is this. Whatever you are going through, God is going to use it.
Yes.
God is going to use it. But tomorrow you will get refreshed so you can refresh his people.
That's right.
I'm saying, going back to my father, he had to go through to get to what he has now. When you hear him play, you're like, oh, you've been through something.
Yeah.
You had some long nights. You had stressful nights where you had to try to figure out how to feed your family. But people don't know that. And they say, I want to play like that. I want to sing like that. I don't say that anymore. Oh, I want to sound like that. I wish, because you don't know what I had to go through to get it.
That's right.
It's a cost. You don't know what people have to go through to write that song.
That's right.
So tomorrow, that's what we'll be talking about. I want people to know that whatever you are going through, he's going to use it.
He's going to use it. That's right.
Refresh his people. Nothing is for free. You got to go through to get to.
Yes.
And what my generation does that doesn't sit right with me sometimes is that we're in such a microwavable generation.
Yeah. Right.
We want things fast. We don't want to go through, but you got to go through. I had to go through a lot of stuff to get to where I am.
Yeah, I'm sure.
From the outside, it seems like a fast track. And yes, I've been able to achieve things, and God's given and blessed me with some things at an early age. But it's not because of destiny. It's because of his will. It's because of the assignment.
That's right.
He had to fast track me so we can shift some things, not only in this industry, but in the earth and in the kingdom of God. So it ain't about you. It ain't about me. I tell people that all the time.
That's right.
I'm excited for what the Lord's going to do tomorrow.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm excited just hearing you talk as a young person, because it is. And see, a lot of young musicians think that going on the road is something easy.
No.
Sometimes that's one of the worst mistakes that they can ever make, is to go on the road and they're not prepared spiritually and mentally.
Can you handle what you want? Because I believe, there are some no's that are in there for us as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think we want and pray for it, but something not in the perfect will of God for our lives as well. So be thankful, that you're doing weddings and you're doing funerals.
He's protecting you.
And
that's right.
And I don't know where we got off with this storefront church, small church. In the eyes of God, church, there are large families and small, larger families.
That's right.
Larger homes, so if you have 9, 12, 14, 16, 30 people, play unto the Lord. If what you're going to play different, playing in a church that got 10,000,
right?
So then we got another conversation, so wherever I find ourselves at is where we need to really be careful in what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. We have a question here for you.
Okay.
If you were starting over as a young musician, what advice would you give and what would you do differently? It's a great question.
Yeah, I would have started, I would have spent more time studying and taking theory, taking those necessary,
Yes.
not just learning the song, but make sure the song knows me.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. Oh, I know that. Okay, but do you know the lyrics? Do you know the words? Do you know why that song was written? How it's
right.
So yes, if I could do things all over again, I would now have, taken advantage of all the music opportunities I had in school.
Yeah.
Spent more time with studying, and now this generation have YouTube and social media. We didn't have that growing up. We had albums that we had to, and I would I'll put a cassette there and push play and record, and I would with the James Cleveland record and the Hawkins records, and then I would stop it, rewind it, play like, Mom, I'm playing. And my mom said, "No, you're not," but she knew where my mind was going. So yeah, and here years later, I end up producing with Edwin Hawkins projects together. After he kicked me off the organ, and
really?
See, I was upset with him. He came to our area. I'm answering your question,
Keisha. Keisha.
Yep, Edwin Hawkins came in working with my uncle in Tri-State, getting them ready for the record, and he said, "What's that you're playing?" I said, "This is the song that you sent." He said, "No, don't sound nothing like what I sent." And the next day, other musicians were brought in to produce the project.
Right.
I was so broken and hurt. I was about maybe 18, maybe about 20. I was young. I was hurt. And I said, "This don't make no sense. How you gonna, I'm talking about, how you gonna let him come in here and kick me off the organ and stuff? It ain't right." But I kept going, I kept listening. So a few years, so I'm gonna tell you, you got to get rid of bitterness. I held that against Edwin for a couple of years. I was in California. I was in California at a conference in Oakland. I called him. I said, "Hey, Edwin," and he said, "Hey, Gary, how you doing?" I said, "Listen, I'm here for a couple of days. I was wondering maybe maybe we can do lunch or something." He said, "Well, you know what? I'm home all week, and matter of fact, I have a rehearsal tonight if you want. No, I have a rehearsal tomorrow if you want. I'll pick you up at the hotel." And we go grab lunch, and then if you want, you can come hang out at my choir rehearsal at church at Love Center. Yeah, I'm like, who gonna pass up that opportunity? Well, we get in this car, so he picks me up from my hotel. We get in this car, we riding, and I said, "I got to tell you something." He said, "What?" I said, "I've been a little upset with you for the last couple of years." Now he said, "Why?" I said, "Cause I was embarrassed because my family was at the record and I didn't even get to play. And, my feelings were on my sleeve." And I said, I remember you took me off the organ and told me, you didn't just let someone else play because you didn't like really what I was doing. I said, that really hurt me. And he's burst out laughing. He's driving and laughing. So now while he's laughing, now I'm really mad. Like, oh, he's arrogant. That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
I was thinking. But now that I know he was not arrogant. So he started laughing, and now I really wanted to cry at this point because I was like, "Oh man, I'm in the car with the Godfather of Gospel, and now he's laughing at me, telling about how I felt like he hurt my feelings." I said, "That's even
we can
worse."
Be so young and just
What he says to me, he said, "But Gary, wait a minute." I looked at my calendar. Don't we have a recording session coming up in a couple months? I said, "Yeah." He said, "Who's producing it?" I said, "Me." He said, "And then I think there's another recording going on in the city I'm supposed to be doing, and you're writing and producing the song for that." "Yeah." "And you wonder why I'm laughing?" I said, "I still don't get why you laughing." He said, "Obviously, me kicking you off
made you,
and it was there to nurture you and help. And what I'm trying to say, I think a lot of times, what Destiny said, we get, we're real tender and real thin skinned. We don't want to say anything to us. We don't want no one to correct us. We don't want anyone to discipline us. And I say anyone that operates without any structure, rules, or discipline will end up in trouble.
That's right.
And this is what Edwin did, and I'll never forget. We end up doing some projects together, and we've been friends all the time, but I was just broken because I couldn't understand why he would kick me off. But then when I listened to the end results, Stephen and them did a great project.
It was really good. Yeah.
So you realize, so to her point, while you're younger, take the time to learn as much as you can, and not know it all. Our theme for tomorrow night is learn what not to do. Because a lot of people, of course, you go to you see musicians doing stuff all day long, but it's got to be a reason why your Mike Burrell's, Kevin Bond, what's his name, Stead Thompson, and Danny Witherspoon and A-Rod. There's a reason why there's a handful of guys getting all the bigger projects all the time. So you gotta, give them major recognition in what they're doing, but you gotta understand maybe there's some things, we can play all the stuff they play, but we may need to learn some of the stuff that they're not doing. That some of the rules, some of the breaks that they're putting on that is a teaching for us, Right. We don't need to know so much. Let's just kind of learn and watch the formula that these guys have set for us for the past 30 some years.
Wow. That's amazing. Because a lot of musicians today, if that happened to them, you would never see them again. They'd be ready to fight.
Be done and quit.
Right.
And we're just a different generation. And some people say that millennials are a little soft, and but you've got to trust the process and believe that where God has taken to you is going to be greater than your form. Yeah. You just gotta believe in that. I told you offline that this industry has given me tough skin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that I've been through some stuff, I'm like, I can go through anything, because I know that God is with me. He's rewarding me because I've been consistent, and that because I've been faithful.
So I'm gonna tell you this, because whoever this young lady that asked that question, here's another thing. I was planning for a funeral. I was maybe 16 years old. Now that's a long time ago. I'm 56 now, so that's 40 years ago. But I still see, you gotta be careful when you have the mic, because you never know how you can scar someone.
That's true.
And a gospel artist, you and I both know, and if I say her name, everybody would know who she is. So I won't do that.
Right.
But I was going to Oregon, and someone got up to sing a solo. I promise you, Tommy Dorsey wouldn't have known this song. I didn't know where. I've never heard this song. So I'm sitting up there, and I was fumbling really bad. And the church was jam packed. It was one of the largest churches in the city, and I could hear her under her breath. She said, "Whoever that kid is on the organ, I just wish he would just get up." And so what little bit I was struggling, when I heard that, I was like this little bit.
Right.
I was so messed up.
Right.
Until I couldn't even figure out what I was. She's a big artist, and we all know her, but I won't say her name.
Right.
So about 5 years later, when I'm Tri-State is doing, I'm traveling, that's and I'm learning a little bit more. I get to go on tour with Cassetta George.
Oh,
going around the country doing Walk Around Heaven all day, and I'm playing.
Yes.
I'm going around, I got my little box haircut. I'm like, yeah, I'm around with Cassetta George. So Cassetta George, we were here in Philly, and then she had to go to DC, and then she flew me to DC. And this artist that kicked me off, told that made that comment about me. I was 16 when she was opening up for Cassetta in DC, and she came over to Cassetta and said, "My musician missed his flight. Can your boy help me out?" So I'm standing there like, now I'm playing with Cassetta George, and going back is doing good with Tri-State, so
right.
Sometimes you can get caught up.
That's right.
Cassetta asked me, what do you want to do? And I told Cassetta exactly what happened. I'm going to go out there and play for her, because it's about these people.
Right.
I never, ever mentioned it to her this day, what she said. I let it go. I went out there and ministered with her, and Cassetta made sure she took good care of me. Everything was well. But what I'm saying is some things aren't worth, you don't have to fight them.
Right.
go after everyone that hurts your feelings or says something slick.
Right.
It's not necessary. I think that's another thing that social media does too much of. We go at people too much, and we really got to be careful. We really have to be careful with that. But yes, my point of it is, when you're young, there's some times where things just gonna happen, but you just keep going, because I work for one. It's Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. You know what I mean? You can tell me I can't go to your church no more, but what you can't do is take what God has given me.
Yeah, and He'll prepare that people right in the presence of your enemies.
And stop spending time talking about them.
We're going to stop talking about it. We're not going to keep giving them the credit. I'm going to give Him the credit.
Yeah.
I'm going to be faithful over a few things, and I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
Period.
That's right.
Eat at the end of this in front of our enemies. Not to show off, but that's how it works.
You got to know the scriptures. You got to know the word of God too.
Yeah, you got to know the word.
Yes.
You have to know
it. Yeah.
Destiny, is a question for you. Does Reach Radio have here syndicated programming, and where can we find it? Have syndicated programming, where can we find it?
Where's that? Where's it?
Yes, we are in 20 cities as well as in Canada. So you can go to our website at reachgospelradio.com and find a city near you. And if we are not in your city, you can download our app, Reach Gospel Radio.
Yeah, that's good. How many Stellar Awards have this radio station won?
We have 3. Praise the Lord.
Really? Wow, that's wonderful.
The Stellars are coming up this upcoming August, and soon the voting, it'll be time to vote. So please be on the lookout for that. And when it's time to vote, because the Stellars will announce it, please vote for Reach Gospel Radio WXHL Wilmington. It's coming very soon, so I'm excited to see what the Lord's going to do. Keep us.
Now, how do you prepare for something like that? When you go, you on the red carpet. I mean, how do you prepare for that? That is just amazing.
It's honestly the biggest thing that I do before the Stellars, before the Doves, or before a big event like that. I'm in prayer and I'm fasting. That's number one, because there's so much going on at these events, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And then I'm also in prayer and I'm fasting because I'm working a lot. From the outside, it seems like it's all glitz and glam.
Yeah.
But no, my aunt will tell you, she's my road manager. She'll tell you, my photographer, Kelly Mobley, will tell you, oh no, we're going to almost 8 events a day. It is nothing but hustle and bustle. Sometimes I'm changing at this event to go to the next one, to go to the next.
Yes.
It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of planning. We've been planning since the beginning of the year. What we're going to do out there, how I'm going to have Reach, out there representing the network, and what am I going to do, for my company and my team. And so it's a lot of planning, months and months and months. And then it's the great outfits, right? So
I like the outfits. They're beautiful. I said, oh boy, you make us proud. You make us proud.
Thank you.
And you look very nice. You look very presentable. You really do. I'm very proud. I know your parents are, but I was very proud when I see you on the red carpet. It's beautiful. And like I said, you represent us very well.
Thank
Christian
you so much. Thank
women, you really do.
Gospel, we're extravagant. We're a little extra. That's who we are. Gospel. So I've been talking to my friends and my industry family, and they're like, "Well, what you gonna wear this year?" I said, "I don't know. What you gonna wear?" So that's the fun part. But at the end of the day, we don't do it for the accolades. But we work all year, and this is a big celebration. I'm proud to be in gospel. I'm proud of gospel music. It's not a genre that you will see me in. I love gospel music, period.
Right.
So at the Stellar Awards, it's our championship. That's our NBA playoffs. I my industry family, and I can celebrate them and say, hey, you've been doing a great job this year. You've been putting in the work. You've been, so it's a celebration. So that's why we look forward to it. We don't look for the accolades, but when the Lord does allow us to win, it's like, it's an encouragement to keep on going.
Yes.
Last year won, the owner of our station, Pastor Steve Hare, he said, Destiny, I was praying that we would win this year. So the Lord can encourage you to keep going. And so have a leader that wants you to be encouraged to keep going.
Right.
I cry like a baby. There's a lot of sacrifices that goes into this programming. And I was telling my father the other day, I believe programming is almost like being the MD. You know, I'm not just playing anything on these networks. You know, we're all about reaching the people, right? So I want to make sure that the song is ministering. Right. It has to have some oil. I'm a musician's daughter, so I'm listening to it from a producer's ear. I'm like, well, who did this mix? Right. So I'm listening it from that aspect. And then of course, because we're a stellar award-winning station, we're syndicated, I have to look at where you are on the billboard. So it's a whole process. But at the end of the day, it has to minister. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of work. But back to
a lot of times people don't want to work, you know, like musicians and some of the young people, not just the young people, some of the older ones, they don't want to put that the work into it. And you have to put the work into it. It's fasting and praying, but you have to put the work, and it's a lot of sacrificing.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it is. A lot of sacrificing. People don't have any clue. Those that want to be in full-time ministry, it's a lot of sacrificing.
Yes.
You know, but platforms like, you know, Call to Refresh will guide you to, you still need insurance. You need life insurance. You know, you need to, if you have a family, you should be able to provide for them, but also you have to think of the long term. You know, if something happens to you, what about your family? But musicians, a lot of them don't think about that. They think about the right now. You know, this money is coming in good now, but what are you doing with that? Are you saving it? You know, are you purchasing, you know, you're investing?
You know, when I first was graduated from high school, my parents said, "So what's the plans?" I said, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna buy y'all a big house. You know, I'm gonna be playing with Michael Jackson. You know, I'm just 16, 17 years old. So then I graduated. They didn't bother me at all. But the very next morning, my mom woke up around 7:30 that morning and said, "What are your plans today?" Oh, me and the guys, we're gonna play some football, or, you know, or basketball. I'm not sure what we're gonna do.
Right.
No, you got a choice. You're either gonna go to college, you're gonna get a job, or you're going in the military, but you're not gonna lay around here all day, you know, waiting for a call to come in. That's not gonna happen. So I knew I wasn't going in the military. I said, that ain't gonna happen. I don't like to do push-ups. So you know goodness well I am not gonna be out there in the rain.
And you look at his hands, they don't look
right.
I'm not gonna be out there doing nobody.
Nice hands, right?
So I said, that's out. And I said, college, I ain't even like kindergarten. I said, I'm not going to college. I said, no, I had enough of 12 years of high school. That's enough. So I said, I'll get a job. And I was blessed to have gone into the workplace and end up being area manager. So my whole thing is, I worked at, I even was a mailman. I did jobs, and hopefully this encourages you musicians that are working 5, you know,
okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
You know, look at it as multiple streams of income. You know, work that job and be faithful to that job. You're going to learn some skill sets there that's going to help you in your music career. Actually, time management, being punctual, you know, being responsible, although I work full time for the ministry and I work from home during the day.
Right.
You would never call here and catch me laying in bed to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly.
Not to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No, you get up, you start your day.
That's right.
I take a half hour, and Destiny said, "Hey, Dad, you want to run to the store?" Give me about 20 minutes. And I said, "We can go at this time. I need to write." What's the problem? I said, "I have to. You know, we can go on my lunch break." You know, and when you develop a discipline and a structure,
right, like a pattern.
You're going to be seeing other things working together on your behalf, but you have to discipline yourself. You know, I mean, the talent and stuff is great. I don't care how exceptional you are. Eventually, you will end up fired if you don't have no structure and discipline. So you have to be, and plus, being a father, she has to see that in me.
That's right.
She needs to see that. Whoa, okay. If my dad is getting up, doing, providing, and doing like it, then this is what I need to be looking for.
That's right.
Try to make sure that we as minstrels and musicians, because we get a bad reputation. You know,
we do.
They call us all kind of names, you know, hormones, everything else. But there is another side to that, you know. And I still believe that if we do the assignment the way we've been called, we will be able to pray off cancers. We'll be able to play off diseases. We'll be able to play off poverties. We'll be able to play off all these things, because a lot of people do what we're assumed to do rather than what we're assigned to do. And that's the difference. So we need to make sure that we understand the assignment, not what we assume, but make sure that we understand the assignment. Again, as I stated earlier in the conversation, make sure that you are still inspired and not inspired in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's so true. That's so true. Now, if you, Destiny, if you had children, or when it's time for you to have children,
oh Lord,
you want them to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When she's married and has children,
I'm about to be 30.
She's married and have children. Would you want them to follow in your footsteps with radio? Would you, or you want them to pursue maybe something else, or what would you think?
Honestly, it's whatever the Lord really calls them to do. You know, I didn't choose this, really the Lord chose it for me. You know, I thought I was going to be on Broadway dancing and singing and acting.
Really?
Life. Yes, because I originally went to school for musical theater, Long Island University. So I had to, you know, apply and audition and all that. I just wanted to be in New York. Then I wanted to be in LA. I just knew I was going to be an actress. And I thought I was going to do radio eventually, but like in my 30s, not teens, you know, early 20s doing all that. Or called me to it. And then growing up with my dad, I was always in the studio as a young girl. So I didn't know he was, you know, depositing seeds into my future. I didn't know he was sowing seeds. And I didn't know what the Lord had planned. So, you know, I didn't know that this is what the Lord had for me at all. But it's really what the Lord wants for them. It really is. It's a lot. This industry is a lot. It's a blessing, but it's definitely a lot, and you've got to be called to it. So I think I would rather have my children be like a doctor, a lawyer, or a chef or something.
Or a mechanic.
Because it's a lot of stress. And I see, you know, my father is still up late night studying. You know, and now I'm up looking at contracts and talking to artists and just doing it so much. It can wear on your body too. It can wear on your physical health. Because of this industry, I would say it's a blessing, but I feel a little older too. You know, it's because it's a lot of responsibility. Yeah, it's matured me. So sleepless nights and all that. So I think I would rather my children do something else, but if this is what the Lord has called them to do, it's in their blood anyway.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But thank God, you know, that you have a parent that can kind of help balance you. But sometimes when you get low, you know, your parents can really kind of guide you, because it can be a lot, you know, because even as I travel all over, like last year I went to like 14 cities and states, and sometimes it gets to be a lot, you know, and you're trying to push and you're trying to do this and do that. And I'm learning this year I'm not going as much because I want to, you know, keep my body right. I want to be able, you know, to, you know, healthy, you know, because sometimes it can, you know, you're in airports, your flight get canceled, delayed, you're sitting in there for hours sometimes, and then you have to get to that venue, you know, and they're waiting for you, and, you know, you're waiting for your ride to come and pick you up. So it's a lot that goes along with it. Yeah. You know, and on the flip side, it is great. It's ministry. It's an assignment. And that's where you have to look. But it's not all, you know, the grass is not always green.
No, it is not. It's a lot of calls. You know, when my phone rings and it's someone from the network or one of my jocks or the owner of the station, or I got to answer the phone. You know, it's a lot that comes with this. You know, so-and-so get to number one. It's because I got a bunch of radio reps. I got a bunch of labels calling me. Hey, can you add more space to this song? What can you do for this song? So it's a lot that comes with it. But from the outside, too. It's so much pressure, right? And so when you go to these events like the Stellar Awards, it's like, oh, that must be so much fun. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but you don't know what's happening in the background. And so I have a lot of experience that I'm going to my dad like, Dad, this is a lot. He said, come on now, you wanted the big titles, you wanted the big bucks. This is what comes with it.
Yeah.
So you gotta learn how to relax a little bit. Cause females, we can get emotional sometimes. And he's like, I don't want you to make decisions based off of emotions.
Right.
Decisions based off of wisdom.
Yes.
And telling you to do. So I'm doing so much better with that. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
I have my days where I'm like,
oh yeah. And that's any of us
off today.
Yeah. We have our days, and that's why I'm trying to even take more time off, even just for myself. Sometimes it's hard to do, but I try to take some time just for me, although I have not done it yet. But I keep saying it, I'm going to do it, because you need that sometimes, just like they said, a mental day, where I just have to go. If I just go to Red Lobster or somewhere, Ruth Chris or somewhere, just even if it's by myself, just to say, I can breathe now.
Yes, whatever you like to do. I said, let me go to Starbucks really quick. I'm gonna go to the church to Starbucks, and then I'll come back to the computer. Because sitting here at this computer and programming and talking to this label and talking to I need a second.
Right, you do. Sometimes you do. Here's a question for you, for Destiny. What's key for you when making contact and negotiating a contract with an artist?
Well, I guess I don't know if this question has to do with management. So, you think it's a management question? What's key for you when making contact and negotiate? So, if it's for
me, in your position,
okay,
what you do.
Well, if it's for management, then the artist reaches out to me, and then we talk about their goals. As an artist, do you just have a goal of making top 40 on the Billboard charts, or do you have a goal of reaching longevity? Do you want more exposure?
Some just want to,
or do you just want to do you want to go on tour? Like, there's a lot of different reasons why people do this. So that's why for booking for
an event.
That has to do with management. So when the artist reach out to me, we first talk about their goals. If they want exposure, then I get a publicist on the line, and we, reach out to different people and let them know, hey, they're coming out with a new album, or they have a new single out, and that's kind of the way we can do that. On the hosting side, people reach out to me to book events. It's a lot that goes into it. So
we don't want to shortchange his answer, but it has quite a few arms to it.
Right.
I'm sure that you probably can contact management service.
You can contact me. You can message me if you have any questions. So I can help you further. Or you can come tomorrow to Call to Refresh as well.
His name is, he's a friend of mine. He served when I had my group years ago. He was my manager.
Okay.
And, he lives in Warner Robins, Georgia. But he stays on top. He also sings with Georgia Mass and Patrick Lundy in the Ministers of Music.
Nice, Patrick
Lundy.
We love Patrick.
Yeah, and so they're good friends, and he sings.
That's my boy said, Planet.
So I think they already got their schedule now for what they're going to be doing for the rest of the year, the conventions and recordings and different things like that. So I love
Patrick coming out too.
Huh?
They have a new project. I was at the recording, so I guess that'll be coming out soon too.
Yeah, he was a part of that as well. So so the questions he's asking, because he's done some things, and then he's traveling a lot with Patrick and Milton Bingham and different ones. So
just focus on their goals. If it's exposure, okay, then you need a social media plan, right? Because social media campaign, you have to come out with a rollout for the album or for the single release. Don't just come out with the single release and send out a few emails to radio people. No, you got to be strategic in everything you do. So, I would love to sit down and talk with you.
Oh, wow. I had no idea that you do all of that. You hear a person on radio, you see him maybe on the red carpet, like I've been following you, but behind the scenes, I know it's some things behind the scenes, but to this extent, I had no idea that you had to deal with the publicist and you deal with management. I didn't know that it was to that extent.
Yes. Yeah. And now I'm managing the group Sincere. So I'm so excited. We're number 11 on Billboard Gospel Airplay and Media Based charts this week. We're coming out with a new album very, very soon. It's
Wow.
Hammond Presents Sincere.
Yeah.
We are excited about what the Lord is doing, but I've been learning a lot, helping them with their album rollout and everything, just to take the group to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's your job as a manager, to take the group to the next level. I laugh all the time and chuckle to myself, because I'm like, now I'm doing the business side of what my dad does.
Right.
He produces the music, and I'm handling the side now. So it's so cool to see how the Lord does that. I did a few piano lessons. That wasn't for me. So now I'm handling the business and the contracts, and
that's important.
Pushing artists forward. So in a few weeks, you'll actually see more information on my new music agency. I also have a website called DeGariaMusicAgency.com. It's out now. But more information is coming in 2 weeks. So it's been a long time coming. So excited, and special at the Stellar Awards this year as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness, I'm excited. So, are you going to share any of this at Called to Refresh on tomorrow? Are you going to be able? Okay, your dad said yes.
Yes.
This is amazing. And these are, and I'm thinking of someone just texted me after listening to you, and they were saying that her and her father should come to one of our conventions we have a youth convention, and that's a lot of young people, and to be able to share this. And I started a music conference. It's called the Music Summit. We had it in Delaware. And next year is going to be in Ohio. And so we're taking it around. So I'm going to keep both of y'all in mind, because this is, it's been so much information right here. Both of y'all are full of so much knowledge that, I would love for other people to hear it, as well, because this is really amazing. And Destiny, I'm just going to continue to pray for you, but
please keep me in prayer. Everybody's like, well, what do you want? Just please keep me in prayer. It's a lot of warfare too.
It is.
Yes, absolutely.
Deep, but it's warfare. Every level comes with a different level of warfare. So I'm just constantly in prayer, constantly asking the Lord to give me wisdom beyond my years, and just to lead me and guide me. But I'm so thankful for my faithful few that I can call on, my big brothers and sisters that I can call. Yes. What do you think about this? Before making a decision, or before doing anything, before pushing that trigger or pulling the plug. I'm just so grateful for them, and grateful for my father and my mother, who's always constantly. My mom was constantly keeping me in prayer. So without them, I wouldn't be able to do that. But they, what the results that you're seeing is because of my parents.
Yes, absolutely.
I already know. I know for sure.
And there's a question for you, Destiny. Do you work with different genres, or do you only work with gospel artists?
Right now, I'm only working with gospel artists. I believe I'm called to this genre. Currently, our genre is only 1.5% out of the whole pie, compared to the other genres.
Yeah,
not making as much money as hip hop and R&B and pop and country. We're technically failing right now, but I believe that God is calling me, and He's shifting me a bit, and He's put me in this executive level. He's calling management to make some changes in our industry. He's allowed me to sit with decision makers, and He's making me a decision maker, so we can remedy this for our genre.
Right.
So this is kingdom music, so it will not fail. It won't fail. It won't fail.
So why do you for you and Gary, why do you think that is, where gospel is like just a little snippet of the pie, and everyone else is? What is it? Is it just a warfare, or is it just that we don't support our own? Christians, we don't support gospel music. What do you think it could be?
I think it's a combination of things. Prime example, you said I'm live tonight with Gary and Destiny Diggs. I don't know what the numbers look like.
Right.
Live. But if you had came on earlier and said, I guess you heard of the passing of Gary and Destiny Diggs, and I'm going to be, and God forbid, and I'm going to be talking about them this evening, the numbers will be double.
Right.
You can put a post out and say, hey, join Cindy Barber tomorrow. I'll be in Philadelphia. Then I'm going over to Jersey to Call to Refresh, blah, 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 blah. Maybe 3 or 4 people, maybe 10, maybe 30, depending on
Right.
mood. But
Right.
if the post came up, I guess y'all heard about Cindy Barber. She's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden there's 700 hits on it. I'm still trying to understand that. I think
People
a lot
like
of
drama.
times they like drama, but I think a lot of times we don't tend to appreciate what we have until sometime it's gone.
Yes.
You know, to hear the numbers of what she's saying, I didn't know the percentage was that low.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I watched, you know, and I hope I don't get in trouble for this. But when I watch the award shows, the Grammys and all the big awards, all the great talent that we have in gospel, why I don't get to see any more of that on the show itself?
I feel the same way.
I mean, I hear the pre-show, this one got an award and this one is good.
Yes.
But I want to see the one that you come to when there's a fire at your house, the one that you come to for prayer when you someone the sickness, you run to the church then. I would like to see with the Grammys, or not just the Grammys, but even all the other things that they're doing, if they will pull the church in more or the gospel more.
Right.
I would love to see the Grammys open up with a gospel artist, and I mean not us just backing up everybody else, but I like to see more of that. So I think what that is, that I don't know. I don't know why we spend $5,000 to $2,000 for a secular artist, but you know we won't spend nearly that, or we have to put about 7 artists on one ticket
in order to
just the $100 ticket. So if you have one artist, if you notice, I'm not dropping any names because I'm not for that foolishness tonight.
Right.
The whole point of it is we have to put 4 or 5 different artists on one bill to pack an arena.
Yeah,
you have to.
I still
we have to do
understand.
collaboration now because they've, there's a formula now that a lot of labels and managers are following, so they get money, so they can recoup some of that money. It's collaboration. We've got to come together. Unfortunately, there's only a select few that can pack out arenas.
Right.
It's nothing, to diminish someone else's gift, but we got to come together. But the biggest issue in gospel music right now is that we have to go back to our roots. We've lost our sound.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with contemporary music, but not everyone is called to be a contemporary artist. Nothing wrong with it. I'm 29 years old. I love, to listen to like 1K Few, and I love gospel rap and all that. But you got to go back to your sound. The music, the hundreds of submissions I get every week sound so much the same, so much alike. And if there's no difference, there's no sound, and it's like we're trying to be like the other genres instead of staying true to us. So not everybody can do CCM. Somebody's got traditional music. Somebody's got to sound like gospel.
That's right.
Back to our roots, and once we get back to our roots, then we're gonna go back to being the salt of the earth for real. Right? Because we have a flavor. We're supposed to be the light. It's supposed to be a difference in us. You should be able to turn on the radio and it should be a difference. It should be a different sound than what everybody else is playing. And I say this in every room God allows me to go into. And I'm like, well, who's that young girl saying that? No, this is what the truth is, and this is what I believe. I've told everyone this. I've told the biggest artists is you got to go back to your sound, because giving us this, it's all the same stuff. So when we go back to our roots, then you will see the success of gospel music. I say all the time, man, would have been like to be in this industry 20 years ago when they were doing platinum and double platinum. Gospel music was gold.
It was. Yes.
When you go back and listen to, all those soundtracks, I love it. So we got to go back to our sound. We got to go back to our roots. It's okay to be different. I'm not trying to box people in and take away creativity, but it's got to be a difference. Not everybody can be CCM.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
But
not
like
just
you was,
CCM, but I'm
mhm.
sorry, contemporary music, because there's so many subgenres within contemporary.
Yeah,
You got hip hop, it's so pop. There's so many different subgenres of gospel.
hmm,
So not just your CCM, Maverick City. I'm not just talking about.
right. Yeah. But you're absolutely right, and it is a shame. And I never thought about it that way, Gary, until you mentioned we have to have so many on one platform in order for people to come out to buy the tickets.
Yes.
And that's so true. And so they're having a lot of tours, but I never thought about that,
And the
I
reason
think,
why they're having tours, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
The reason why they're having tours is to recoup some of this money.
Yeah.
And streams are also down. We call it DSPs.
Yes.
Digital streaming platforms. That's Apple Music, that's Spotify, that's Pandora.
Right.
We're losing in those areas. We're last place compared to the other genres.
Yeah.
And so their money really should be recuperating money within the DSPs, right? So that's the way you make money, DSPs, and then your tours. So that's why so many tours pop up, because the DSPs, the numbers aren't where they should be.
And the numbers are down because our community, we're just not, I don't know what it is.
And it goes back to the church too, a respect for the church. When we go back to holding the standard and holding up the bloodstained banner, people will come back to the church. Unfortunately, a lot of people in my generation, we're done with the fluff, right? And we're done with the fluff. We're done with that stuff. You have this jet and you're wearing Burberry because of my hard-earned money. Nothing wrong with wearing all that, but my generation sees the real from the fake. And so some people, especially,
and that's because a lot of ministries are focused on being relevant.
Right.
If you're doing it, we need to do it. Everybody wants to be relevant, and we forgot about revelation.
We forgot about revelation, and we forgot about Jesus. We don't mega churches. We don't care about that anymore. We really just want Jesus, but we can tell the real from the fake. So when we go back to holding up the bloodstained banner and really keeping Jesus at the center, then we will. Everything else is going to fall back into place, because everything's got to come back in order. Back in order for sure.
It does. But you could tell there's it's such a falling away from the church as well. So I think it affects our gospel, the music, because back then, way back many years ago, they migrated, like to the church. They had gospel singing all the time. They went from this church to that church to sing after Sunday afternoon program. And then you had one down the street. We're going over there. Our group is going over there. And there wasn't a bunch of money, involved at that time, but they just were honored to sing and to minister. And people were there. It wasn't like a handful of people. Sometimes those churches were packed. They're standing all around the walls and outside. They didn't have even the microphones that we have today and the equipment that we have, but they stood for coming to church and giving Jesus the praise.
Yeah.
And they stood for that. Now is different. And like you said, when we have so many with social media where you can go on YouTube and watch a service, you can go on, streaming and stuff. So they don't really take it like we need to go to church.
No. They're not going to church.
But we got a fellowship.
Yes.
Yes.
To assemble. We got to come together. We have to come to church. Destiny said, I'm not coming home. It doesn't hurt the bricks and the mortar. It hurts me because I come to the Father's house, and I look at it as like playing baseball. The bases are your safe place, which is the house of God.
Right.
It's going to rain. Whether we don't talk about heaven and hell, we don't talk about none of that no more. But we make sure that we are anchored, and we know we're not safe, but we're saved, and we know that God has got us covered and we're protected, so I think a lot of things get kind of sidetracked because we don't want to feel like we're giving them grandmom's church or that's
exactly.
I still believe that God is returning for his people. So we want to make sure that we are just living, because every eye is going to see him.
Every eye.
People doing well, but I want him to say, well done, that good service. So at the end, but I just think with the numbers being down, I just would like to see the church really make a conscious decision. I need to support
Yes.
The artists more, all the artists more, Kirk,
Right.
your Freds, your Ties,
But
I love this.
another issue to why the church is not supporting gospel artists, and this is another thing I say all the time, they're charging too much money. And your average church cannot afford
Can't afford it.
$20,000, $15,000 for an artist to come in. And this is what I'm always saying to these labels, to these artists. You've got to put your price down and you'll be working more. I promise you.
Oh, I know.
You'll be even more booked. But you're trying to charge us $30,000, so you can, get those clothes and get your hair done. And that's not the church's job. You are robbing from the hand that feeds you. That's right. So when they put those prices low, then our churches will be able to support them more.
I agree.
$1,000 for one gig, I don't agree. Yes. I don't care who you are. It's not right. It is not okay to rob the church. And when this is what I've been telling my pastor friends. I said, stop inviting them to come. Don't invite them to come. And then I bet you they will lower their price.
Exactly.
I tell artists all the time. I said it's not right. God is not happy with it. And that's why as a whole we're struggling. So together we've got to come together and make the decision. Hey, we're going to lower our prices and we're going to start supporting these churches more. Our tours need to start being at some of these larger churches as well.
Yes.
So that's some of the things that have been on my heart and that I've been working on.
That's good.
With other industry peers, because a change is going to come. A change is going to come in Jesus' name, because I just care too much about this genre.
Yeah.
What's happening right now, but a change is definitely going to come. But we've got to come together.
We have to
decision, because it is not the job to feed you.
Exactly.
$20,000 for to sing two songs. It is not right.
And the thing of it is too, the way the world is going. I mean, you can look at different things with the presidency, what's going on at the White House. We have to really think more smarter, because things are not going to get easier for us. God is going to look out for the Christians, because like the Bible says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or seed begging bread. But it's going to come a time where people are just not going to be coming to the concerts, and churches are not going to be able to afford them at all. So like you said, and I've been saying this for years, like you said, they have to come down on these prices and make it, and then you would have more work. And I've heard also people say, well, because even Stephen Ford, when I had him on the show, and he was saying, don't just have one job, have multiple streams of income. He was telling musicians have multiple streams of income. That way you're not feel like, there's one job, but I have to cram everything in. He said, but have something else that you need to do.
That's right. And always make money while still maximizing your gift.
Yeah.
You can teach classes, if you're licensed to do that.
Right.
You can teach lessons. You can consult. There's so many different ways. I believe that every musician, every artist should tap into entrepreneurship.
Be a mechanic. I keep saying that because I'm telling you, I never thought about mechanic. We always talk about doctor and lawyers. I'm telling you, you need a good mechanic.
You need a good mechanic.
And I know it sounds funny, but
it's right.
Well, everybody be doctors and lawyers, but have you had your
every
car
job
service?
is important.
You know how much money it costs to get these cars repaired?
They do, and plumbers.
We need plumbers. Yeah, we need more. We need more of them.
We need more Black doctors.
We need doctors, but we need some mechanics.
But after a while, they're not going to be able to afford the cars anyway. So they're going to have to, with the cars that they have, they're going to have to keep it up for a number of years.
But as you said, what Stephen said, the multiple streams, you have to have more than one thing going for you.
You do.
It's not an embarrassment. There's nothing wrong with doing it. You don't know how these people are eating. I tell people that all the time. I say, you know how such and such is eating. It's okay.
Right.
At least you're able to provide for yourself. That's honorable. That is honorable. You don't have to be embarrassed.
Yeah. Right.
So you don't know how the Lord is going to use you in that area.
Right. My sister-in-law said we need honest mechanics.
Yes, we do.
And car salesmen. There's so much out
right.
This assignment.
So as we close, Just share a little bit to invite people on tomorrow before we close.
Please, I want to see you in Camden, New Jersey tomorrow. Call to Refresh 2025, the symposium and scholarships that we're doing tomorrow night. Our guest, Cedric Thompson, major producer, Freddie Washington, Tamika Furby, Hassan James, the owner of Root Magazine, will be there. Paul Rogers, insurance agent, will be there. Tamika Furby, Dr. George James will be there. Renee Holmes, who runs Go Strong Fitness, will be there. Jack Harris, the mogul real estate tycoon, Jamie Williams, who will be handling finance, moderated by Kelly Mobley. Desi will be there, and Destiny will be there tomorrow night as well.
That's right.
Not only is she there, but she's vice president, and she assists with me with doing Call to Refresh. And soon I'll be passing the baton on to her, letting her just run it all on her own. And I'm grateful for that. Be honoring Derek Hodge tomorrow night. Yes, the doors open at 6:00. Camden, New Jersey. If they flyer, I guess you'll post it. All the information is on there, and we are looking forward to a great time. That week, iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
So it's not that we are the smart and you the dumb. No, we're in a room. As Destiny said, there's only one in the audience, and that's Jesus Christ himself. So yes, I am so excited about tomorrow night. Call to Refresh is our 11th year. There's nothing we just put together. It is every Tuesday after Easter. It is every Easter. It's been that way. I do it, and particularly on a Tuesday night, because most musicians are somewhere traveling or working Thursday through Monday on the roads and services over the weekend. So it's always been on a Tuesday. I do it the Tuesday after Easter, figuring all the Easter production. The next week's sometimes kind of quiet at the churches.
And you need to get refreshed after.
And you need to get refreshed.
If you're in ministry, if you're refreshed after all.
Now, give us the link again.
I don't have a link on it. I just have the flyer on there. That's why.
I'm going to post it again. It's been on my page, but I'm going to post it.
Yeah. It's time to change the guards, but a little bit, bless his heart. But if you would like more information, you can go to either one of our Facebooks or Instagrams. If you would like to purchase a ticket now, you can do so from our Zelle, 856-465-3623, 856-465-3623, or on Cash App at $Gary Diggs. The tickets are only $16.23, but at the door, it will be more.
Right. Absolutely. Mike says that Cedric is producing the current Patrick Lundy project.
I know. I was there
when he started.
When he was in town, we went to lunch and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was in. Yeah, I came to the recording.
Yes. Oh, wow. That's amazing. So I want to thank you all. It's been refreshing for me. This session.
This is real, Barber. I really love my daughter.
I really love.
Oh, I know.
We are. Yes, I'm her father, but I love this girl. And
yes.
For her to see that God is keeping his lips on her ears. And I tell her all day, I said, do nothing without him. Do nothing without him. I don't care what it is. And see, people will come all in disguise. You know how that works. They're dressed up like they would, and but they have hidden agendas. Look, I work too hard to just let any and everybody get up close to this one, because I don't work too hard. But I tell everybody, and I tell fathers out here, and I'm speaking down to parents right now, when got adult children or teenagers, and you're trying to figure out how to do it, put that oil on them, pray, and just seek God for counsel as what do I do, Lord? Because she came with no instructions.
Right.
Pampers and stuff like that, but they come with no instructions.
Right.
We have to rely on that word of God.
Yeah.
And I believe this. If you put it in them at a young age and teach them the word of God, pray with them. When Destiny come home from college with her girlfriends, You know, they'll be at the table. You know, I'll fix breakfast for all her friends, and they're sitting there. Then I took them all to King of Prussia Mall or something, and they all got in the car. I gave them all a small vial of oil, and that's like, oh my God, Dad. And I'm like, here, and I'm giving this. What's this? I said, this is what we call oil. This is what we anoint ourselves with. And they're sitting there looking at me. These are non-church people, and they're sitting there like, oh my God.
I was friends home from Norway, exchange students, international students.
Really?
I've always been very diverse.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And they were like, okay, Mr. Gary. But they were on the gospel choir. That's why all my friends were home, and we would sing at my church on the weekends.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
That's what I'm saying to us musicians. It's got to be more than just knowing the key to the song. It's got to be more than just knowing a chord progression, or I'm doing other arrangements. We've got to have something else to be able to offer people. So that's what I'm saying. I made sure that because my parents, put it in me. So I said, you know what? It didn't kill me. So I definitely,
that's true.
I go in her room. Yep. Even when she's not home, I lay hands on her pillow, I pray over her room, touch her clothes. She's traveling, and if I can't go with her, I'm praying over her luggage, everything.
Yes.
Because the blood still works.
That's right.
Blood still works, and that's what I ask God to cover her with the blood, and that's what I believe in.
Yeah,
that's right. Man, what are your tips to being a good father? Just pray, trust God, ask Him for direction, and lead by example.
Yes.
And my parents, not just meet her at these places, but beat her there. Be there before she gets there. Open ways, already make plans and doors that should be closed. Open some doors, shut some, whatever you need to do that you're glorified.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. That's right.
You talking about playing? I don't play. I lay hands in the
He lays hands and he lays hands.
Yeah.
So my dad does not play.
I know he doesn't.
I got this little patient thing. You sit back and people think they slick. And you sit back and you say, okay. But I'm telling you, you don't want to get my God upset, because I already know what God has been to me in my life. And he already told us that if she was born, she would not be able to walk. She would not be talking. She would have and a cleft foot. She
learning disabilities.
Well, sometimes
really,
they said she would have learning disabilities. They said she was going to have some issues. But this God that I serve, the faithful God that I serve, that's all.
Yes.
I ain't gonna go down like that.
Come on now.
Hands. And her dog got sick. This is funny, Barber.
And that's why my name is Destiny.
Yeah.
By the way.
So we can get off your feet. But her dog got sick and kept on having to get sick or something. Something was going on with the dog. And I said, oh, no. I went upstairs, got my oil. I went and laid hands on the dog. I said, God, I need you, because Destiny was young. I need her to see that
you work.
You're working and you're real. And I laid hands on that dog, and I said, I'll be back. I went on to church. I got back that evening. Dog sitting up drinking water. And
no more seizures.
No more seizures. The dog was fine.
Oh, really?
I keep saying, an outfit, taking them to get their nails done. Okay, that's all cute and stuff. But this is a real world with some real issues and some real stuff going on. And we got to be able to have more to offer them than just a line of credit to get stuff. I said, listen, we getting ready to get off this phone, but I say it again. Kingdom guards, ushers, greeters, the best choir, lights blinking all around. You can have all this stuff going on in your church. But when you, after doing all that checklist, you better say, Jesus, is he absent or is he present? That is what's most important at the end of the day. We want to make sure that Jesus is present. Meet us tomorrow night, Camden, New Jersey. Meet us tomorrow night. Yes. The doors open at 6:00. Security cops, all that going to be there. So come on, have a great time with us. We're going to work together.
Well, I want to thank you two for being on. This was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to bringing you all back again on the show. And we have another conversation, because it was very enlightening and refreshing. So please, you're in the area, please don't miss Call to Refresh on tomorrow. And also sow a seed. Send them some money. They're doing scholarships. So let's learn to be able to help others,
help
each other, because that's what it's all about.
Yes,
So I want to say good night to all of you that are watching and those that will watch the replay days and weeks ahead. And I want to thank you so much for being on Real Talk. And I have some more exciting guests that will be on joining me as soon as I get my schedule together. But next month, it's on. So I'm looking forward to it. I have to take more time to do it. And so I'm excited. And this is my 5th year with Real Talk. So I'm really excited.
Congratulations and blessings to you.
Thank you.
The number of grace.
More grace.
Yeah, the number of
Thank
grace.
you. I started during the pandemic in 2020.
Hey, that's when I was working on the book during the COVID. Yeah.
Yep, during COVID, so, but it's been a blessing. So I want to say good night to everyone and thank you so much. And we'll see you again right here on Real Talk. God bless you. Have a good evening.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to Real Talk with Cindy Barber. We hope you have been informed and inspired by the conversation on this evening. You can contact Cindy Barber on Instagram at CindyRBarber04. You can email her at ms.cindybarber@gmail.com or the YouTube channel at Cindy R. Barber. You can also contact Cindy about having your event advertised on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Cindy looks forward to you joining her next week for another informative conversation right here on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Until then, have a great evening.